Dahlquist produced a folded piece of paper from his shirt pocket, unfolded it, held it out to Buckhorn. In the dimming light of early evening, Buckhorn saw that it was from a man named Tolliver, addressed to Dahlquist. "Be a favor if you'd stay on the lookout for a Joe Buckhorn who might be passing your way. Hired gun, but not wanted by the law. Part Indian. Wears a bowler hat. Rancher here named Danvers has need of his services. Let me know if he comes around. I'll have Danvers wire him there direct. Thanks." When Buckhorn lifted his eyes after he was done reading, Dahlquist said, "Thad Tolliver is a sheriff farther west and south some. A good man. Works out of the town of Barkley. Don't know this Danvers personally, but I've heard the name. Runs a big ranching operation in that area. Big enough to have the local sheriff acting as a messenger boy for him, it seems," observed Buckhorn. "Don't know about that. Like I said, Tolliver has always been a good man, so I got no problem doing him this favor. You familiar with him or Danvers? Either one?" "Can't say I am." "Well, at least one of 'em seems to know something about you, enough to describe you and want to hire your, services, as the message says."
"I've been doing what I do for a while now," Buckhorn replied. "Long enough for folks to have heard about me, and long enough for me to know how to stay on the right side of the law. As far as the description, how many big, ugly Indians do you run across wearing a bowler hat and packing a 6-gun they look like they know how to use?"
"You make a point there," Dahlquist said.
There was no denying that Buckhorn's appearance tended to leave a lasting impression. Tall, lean, solid-looking. Crow's wing-black hair and skin bronzed to a deep reddish-brown hue that spoke clearly of the Indian blood in him. Hawk-like facial features that most would consider to be on the homely side, although a surprising number of women seemed to find them intriguing. All decked out in a brown suit jacket and matching vest, neatly knotted string tie, and topped off with a rakishly tilted bowler. At first glance, he might be mistaken for a whiskey drummer or some such, but nobody would maintain that assessment for very long, not after closer consideration of the hardness around his eyes, or the way the Frontier Colt 45 pistol hung loose and ready in the well-worn holster on his hip.
"I guess the only question left now," Dahlquist went on, jabbing a finger to indicate the paper Buckhorn was still holding, "is how you want to respond to that. Well, I'm sure Virgil Holmes, who runs our telegraph office, has closed up shop for the day, but he's a pretty amenable fella, especially after he has a good meal in him. Once I know he's finished supper, I could ask him to send a response to Tolliver and probably have something direct to you from Danvers back in the morning, unless none of it is any interest to you. Then we can just forget the whole thing."
Buckhorn didn't have to think on it for very long. His last job, money-wise, hadn't worked out nearly as well as he'd expected. So if a big Texas rancher had a new proposition to make, he was willing to hear the man out. As far as Dahlquist's friendly offer to help speed things along by providing a little extra go-between service, there was a part of Buckhorn that wanted to take him up on it. But at the same time, there was also part of him that stubbornly hated being beholden to anybody. He had wrestled with that pride many times in his life, and pride usually won. So his response was, "I'd be obliged for the chance to hear what this Danvers has to say, Marshal. But I sure hate to step on your telegraph man's supper time, not to mention yours. I can wait until morning to respond to this message from the sheriff myself, then see what Danvers comes back with."
"Nonsense. Well, I still got my evening rounds to make, and it won't take Virgil but 2 shakes to send that telegram. You wouldn't be stepping on our time to amount to nothing. You see, Mr. Buckhorn, folks in and around Forbes are real friendly that way, to each other and to strangers passing through alike."
Here the marshal showed another brief smile, this one a bit toothier than before.
"And when it comes to hired guns like yourself passing through, meaning no disrespect to you personally..."